If someone told you he was God, how would you respond? Maybe you'd start backing away slowly. The interesting thing is, Jesus, the central figure of Christianity, actually made this extraordinary claim about himself. But what does that really mean? Well, the first implication of Jesus' claim to be God is that he can no longer be simply a good moral teacher. C.S. Lewis, British professor and author, explains, "I'm trying here to prevent anyone saying the really foolish thing that people often say about him. I'm ready to accept Jesus as a great moral teacher, but I don't accept his claim to be God. That is the one thing we must not say. A man who was merely a man and said the sorts of things Jesus said would not be a great moral teacher. He would either be a lunatic, on a level with the man who says he's a poached egg, or else he would be the devil of hell. You must make your choice. Either this man was and is the Son of God, or else a madman or something worse. You can shut him up for a fool. You can spit at him and kill him as a demon, or you can fall at his feet and call him Lord and God. But let us not come up with any patronizing nonsense about his being a great human teacher. He has not left that open to us. He did not intend to." So Jesus' claim leaves us with three options: liar, lunatic, or Lord. Let's consider these in turn. Was he a liar? If, when Jesus made his claims, he knew that he was not God, then he was lying and deliberately deceiving his followers. But if he was a liar, then he was also a hypocrite, because he told others to be honest, whatever the cost, while he himself taught and lived a colossal lie. More than that, he was a demon, because he told others to trust him for their eternal destiny. If he couldn't back up his claims and knew it, then he would be unspeakably evil. Last, he would also be a fool, because it was his claims to being God that led to his crucifixion. Was he a lunatic? This view of Jesus, however, doesn't match what we know, either about him or the results of his life and teachings. Wherever Jesus has been proclaimed, lives have been changed for the good. And he certainly didn't act like a lunatic. Even mothers were willing to have their children go to Jesus. After all, it's possible to be both sincere and wrong. But we must remember that for someone to think himself God, especially in a fiercely monotheistic culture, and then to tell others that their eternal destiny depended on believing in him, is no slight flight of fantasy, but the thoughts of a lunatic in the fullest sense. Yet in Jesus, we don't observe the abnormalities and imbalance that usually go along with being deranged. His poise and composure would certainly be amazing if he were insane. We see that it's very improbable to think Jesus was a lunatic or a liar. In fact, it would be reasonable to conclude that he is who he claimed to be, God himself in the flesh. Yet each of us need to grapple with that question for ourselves. So is Jesus a liar, lunatic, or Lord?